If you look around London, you'll see the two-door bus. Most buses have two doors, some three, some one. But how many different door controls are there to control those two doors? It's quite interesting. Let's have a look. In this video, we'll break down the flaws in today's designs, the traps that drivers face daily. And in the next episode, I'll show you what a human factors-based solution could look like. Welcome to Better Buses, where we highlight the problems on the front line of London's bus system and push for practical human factors solutions. I'm Joe, a London bus driver for the best part of 2 decades. Today's focus, bus door controls. Consider this a quick introduction. We'll have to revisit this in more detail in a future episode. Really important, my views are my own, but having marched for the Bus Drivers' Bill of Rights and spoken with like-minded people, I'm confident that they reflect the shared experience of many drivers across London. Now, these aren't just buttons and switches. They're a system meant to keep passengers safe if the design respects human factors. Things like muscle memory, clear mental models, and instinctive reactions. Some do, many don't. Being struck by bus doors can mean anything from a scare to a serious fall. Vulnerable passengers, elderly, disabled, or distracted, are at real risk. Drivers need clear views of the doors and controls that can be used instinctively, especially under pressure. When layouts confuse, hesitation costs precious seconds. Bad design is everywhere. Ever pushed a door that should have been pulled, or used a cooker where the controls don't line up with the burners? In the latter case, that's poor mapping. Good design uses natural mapping, controls that match the thing that they operate. In so many cookers, the controls don't map well to the things that they control. Consider this. Can you say that there is any confusion about which control matches which burner? This relies on a 1-to-1 ratio, one control to one thing being controlled. When we turn to bus controls, we have examples where the middle door is to the right, to the rear, and to the left of the front door. I've not personally seen an arrangement where the rear door is to the front, but I've heard of one example that could have been the result of a maintenance mix-up. Clearly, when the rear door control is to the rear, it creates the advantage of natural mapping. Some have a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 buttons to one thing being controlled. Here, open and close are separate. But again, you see a variation in mapping across the fleet. The rear door buttons to the left, naturally to the rear, to the right, and even one with a foot switch where the rear door is to the front. We've already hit upon natural mapping that optimise ease of use. Unfortunately, there is no equivalent to say where the open button should sit relative to the close button. Examples include to the rear, right, front, or left of the open button. Consider door location can either be natural or arbitrary, and open and close locations will always be arbitrary in relation to each other in terms of natural mapping. Open and close could be naturally mapped to some extent if we rethought the controls altogether. If we come out of theory and think about the practical implications of all those different controls, we come across the key problem. With a 1-to-1 control, you can go from one vehicle to another and the controls can be in opposite positions. But when you have both open and close for each door, including rocker switches, every single button can move to a diagonally opposite position. If anything is the opposite of human factors, this would come close. I quoted Don Norman in a previous episode, but it applies here even more. If the system lets you make the error, it is badly designed. And if the system induces you to make an error, then it is really badly designed. When layouts change from bus to bus, muscle memory stops being a guide and turns into a minefield. What feels instinctively right in one cab explodes into error in another, leaving drivers to tiptoe through their own instincts instead of relying on them as a source of safety and support. Drivers don't always work on one bus type. Routes change, garages swap vehicles, breakdowns shuffle stock. Every new layout forces us to think harder about something that should be instinctive. This isn't just a nuisance, it's tiring. It burns mental energy that should go to monitoring the road, mirrors, cameras, and passengers. Human factors research, like the 4 stages of competence, show how we progress from conscious effort to unconscious mastery. But constant variation keeps drivers anchored in the conscious stage, bouncing in and out of instinctive use. That's draining, increasing the chance of error and contributing to fatigue. Imagine if your computer's arrow keys changed layout every time you logged in. Sometimes a cross, sometimes a line, sometimes reversed. You'd never build up fluency. That's what drivers face with inconsistent door controls. And when mistakes happen, they don't just move a cursor, they put people at risk. Here's the bottom line. Inconsistent and arbitrary door controls bend drivers around bad systems. Labels and workarounds don't solve it. Standardized, human-centered design does. In the next episode, I'll share why this particular door layout could be the best answer, one that supports drivers and protects passengers. If you haven't already, please sign the Bus Drivers Bill of Rights petition. Like, share and subscribe, spread the word. This is Better Buses. See you next time, and until then, stay safe out there.